Good afternoon and most likely good evening. Today we're going to have some business conversations. So we have a walk down memory lane with the Deji situation and LTG, and he had a few extra words about it. He feels played, he feels like his word wasn't kept. But I'm going to let him go ahead and explain it himself.
I was heavily deceived to play that set in Tekken. It was extremely horrible. It was horrible. It was a complete betrayal.
Now, when we say that, as far as whatever your conversation was, what you and him discussed and what you talked about, okay, cool. That's one thing. It is what it is. Now, as far as this whole situation with what that did and what it should have done and the money you could have made, that's your fault. And you and him collabing his content, it's up to you to make that content go. It's not Deji's responsibility to contribute to your growth or doing anything additional for you. You have the clips, you got the notoriety. It's up to you to utilize it to your benefit. If it gets utilized and it's not to your benefit and you feel as if it's your detriment, that's your bad.
Not even a lie. Yeah, like to play the set, like it was very deceiving. Like the only reason I played the set, because remind you, I don't have a YouTube channel, so I wasn't gonna benefit off me playing the set.
And I'm gonna say this again, like Kai Cenat, one of the biggest streamers, hands down. It ain't got nothing to do with YouTube. You still could have been big where you was at. If you make decisions and you make if we just review all the choices and decisions you've made up to this point, there's no way for you to sit here and say it wasn't beneficial. There was nothing but eyes on you. But when you decide to conduct yourself in a certain manner, then guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna cost you. Your mouth costed you. Pause. The things that you've done up to this point is why it wasn't beneficial.
So I played the set. I was already at a deficit because I'm in America. When you lie to somebody and say, please play the set, bro, blah, 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 I'll help you get your YouTube channel back. And then once we do the collab, you go ghost and give me some minuscule answer. You didn't even try to help me get my back. You see what I'm saying? Like,
okay, now, bro, let's be honest. You almost, what, about 40 years old, give or take? You should know better, bro. Anything a person says is hearsay. If it ain't in black and white and in paperwork and signed contracts, people have no obligation to you. None. Even if he said it even if he did say it, if it's not in paperwork to where you can hold somebody financially responsible for not doing what they said they were going to do, it's irrelevant. Handshakes do not hold up out here. And you being this old should know better than that. Like, don't you live somewhere? Don't you sign contracts? Don't you have leases? Don't you have vehicles? You think they're gonna go off of a handshake with you? Okay, the payment's $500 a month. Okay, you promise to pay it? Yeah, I'm gonna pay it. I don't even need to sign the contract, bro. I promise you, I'm gonna pay that $500. All right, bro, go ahead. You could take the car, bro. No biggie. You can have it. Come on, man. How old are you? Like, we gotta do better, man. We gotta do better.
people always try to fucking use my name and use me for something. I was fucked up. Then he lied and said he was gonna help me get my YouTube channel back so that I could do the collab, and literally lied. And I remember I hit him, I was like, yo, bro, what's up with your guy, blah, blah, blah. He sent me instead of him talking to the guy, he sent me his information to DM him. The dude, obviously when somebody randomly DMs you, you don't really ever see the DM. Bro, you're supposed to hop on the phone and see who you could call to help me get my channel back.
About the Instagram, he is right. Even if people like or follow you, sometimes it doesn't even show up in the alerts and even in the inbox. Like, he got the hidden, the general, it's just doing way too much. It's just doing way too much, and it's not even functional. But even then, as far as calling him, I'm sure he could or would have, but you got to remember what happened too. You got to remember what happened. You're forgetting and you're leaving out the fact that when you had the Tekken set with Deji, right after that was all of that baby mama drama stuff that came up about you abandoning the kid and all that. So how is Deji gonna vouch for somebody who allegedly has a kid they don't claim, and all the stuff you were saying about daughters? Like, how is he supposed to co-sign that? And what you don't understand about co-signs or vouching for somebody, if you do something stupid, that's on their reputation. You just messed up their reputation. Their word has less value. That's like if somebody recommends you to a job they're at. If you come up in there and you dumping milk on the floor or doing whatever, throwing Oreos against the wall, they might get fired too, just for recommending you. So why would Deji, after all that drama you had going on, go and vouch for you to YouTube? Why would he do that?
Yeah, that was deceiving and up. It was. I don't give a about no 200-300 gifteds for the set. You said you was gonna help me get my YouTube channel back. I didn't give a about no 300 gifted.
No, you need to help you get your YouTube channel back. You need to clean up your image and act like you have some sense. Because if you know Soulja Boy, if you do what you're supposed to do, act right and clean yourself up and clean your image up, you can already have your channel back. This is the reason why Pearl Davis got remonetized after getting demonetized. This is why Myron from Fresh and Fit never got back remonetized. This is why Fresh was able to get monetization, even though he was a part of the Fresh and Fit brand. What you gotta understand is the decisions you make overall affects the platform. This is why the platform has to be very careful about who they allow there, because if they don't, it could come with some extreme ramifications in lawsuits that they don't want to have to see, and not lawsuits from people who are a part of the platform, outsiders. They don't want any bad press from the government. They don't want any bad news press from anybody doing anything on their platforms. They don't. And if you're somebody who's kind of up there and you're high risk, Andrew Tate, they're going to deal with you accordingly. They're not playing with you. They're not playing, bro. And that's what you need to understand. Realize where you at. And if somebody got 12 million subs, and even then you was complaining about Corey. Corey's supposed to co-sign you, dude, with all the stuff you saying, especially with what he stands for on his platform. And you be like, man, these people just act like they don't know somebody. Like, bro, look at what you say. Really? Did you not hear the stuff that comes out of your mouth? Do you understand the words that are coming out of your mouth? Really?
That's why I didn't really want to do it in the first place, because I'm like, I'm always getting used for some shit. I would have never ran that for 300 gifteds because there's no beneficial anything for me. There's no analytical benefit for me.
Yes, it was, because it's actually not even possible. Like, I don't even know how this is possible. It's not even possible for your name to be put into something and every channel around you gets more views than you do. That's an issue. Like, that's a undiagnosed problem that you need to sit your ass down and figure out. Why is it? Why is it that my name is generating this many views and this many people watch me, but this many people don't watch me? That's a question you gotta ask yourself.
But to lie and say you're gonna help me get my YouTube channel back and then go ghost after, it's crazy to me. But like I said, man, if you can say that you're gonna do something and then lie about it, it's fucked up.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm a man of my word, and like I said, if I review it, I have to link in it. Now, again, I ain't a big channel, but again, from this alleged channel, it's there. So if people choose to watch it, it'll be available and the content in its entirety will be there. Now, as far as that set, he paid you for the services. He paid you the candies for the set. That's all he owed. He paid you for the set. Nothing more, nothing less. Outside of that, guarantees, handshake agreements, those are irrelevant. And I'm here to tell any of y'all listening to this, if you ever deal with somebody bigger than you or a celebrity, just understand these people don't keep their word. If you don't put it in contract or on paper, man, they're not going to do that. They are not going to do it at all. They're not, because they're not obligated to, so they're not going to do it. Now, if you're bigger than them, they'll do it because it's beneficial for them, because you're bigger than them and they want to tie themselves to you. That's the only difference. But if you're smaller than them, they're going to rip you off. They are. I mean, I'm sorry, but I cannot name a celebrity where they didn't do this unless you were a financial benefit to them to where it actually helped them. Like, say you were handicapped or you had cancer or something. Oh, they'll put you out there then. Oh, they'll support you then because they want to look like a good person or they want to look like they help people. But generally, these people who are above you, man, these are not good people. These are people who are out for themselves. It is what it is. You know, you don't have to take my word for it. Do what you want. But yeah, you know, you don't have to charge it to the game. Let's go ahead and move on to the next segment.
So the Carter 6 has the internet in a frenzy.
Before we move forward, Freddie versus Jason Hoodie, you're a real one. And for those that don't know, that's the fabulous Jadakiss collab album, Fire.
If you ask me, this is typical Lil Wayne, but some people are now realizing that they have matured past Lil Wayne, or they have outgrown Lil Wayne. And if you ask me, 2018 was the last good years of Young Money collectively. The big three of Young Money, Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki, their last great projects were in 2018.
I mean, I listened to the Carter 6, and I want to ask this question. I mean, this to me isn't much different from like every Lil Wayne album. I'm not really sure what people were expecting from a Lil Wayne album. First of all, this man is out of touch. He doesn't even live in the same world everybody else lives in. He doesn't eat the same way. He doesn't lay his head the same way. He doesn't deal with the same issues. Now, of course, he is a slave to the label. That's a different story and a different discussion than a slave to Birdman. Again, different discussion. So basically, ever since his success, when he's about the age of 25, that's when Arrested Development starts. From that point on, the culture of whatever he was doing is completely different. You know, as far as we start doing lollipop, pop music, Mrs. Officer and all of that, this is what he's doing. He's going to rap about having fun and his lifestyle and doing the things that he does in his festivities. That's what all his albums have been about. That's what all his later albums have been about. That's what his current albums have been about. You're going to have maybe like one serious song here and there. Then you're going to have one with a sample in it. Then you're going to have that little bass knocker going on. Then you got that kind of unique one that you got that's a little bit different. And you got that off-key singing thing he does. You get what I'm saying? When I heard this album, I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. But people are acting like this is something where he fell off. This is the same thing he's been doing. Did you expect him to talk about the stock market? Did you expect him to talk about the price of eggs? You expect him to talk about crypto? He ain't Nipsey. You know what I'm saying? What did you think he was going to be rapping about? When he said, I'm in my own world, he meant it. And the thing is, a lot of these artists, as they get older, unlike Nas, Nas, he ages and stuff. And a lot of these artists age gracefully and they make music as they age. But for people to be complaining, the thing that irritates me about people who complain about Wayne is that there's so many countless artists and different artists who are doing what you're expecting Wayne to do, but yet you're expecting it from Wayne. Why not go to the category of artists you're looking for and listen to that artist?
And there's a specific reason for that. If you look at Drake, his last good project that people would start to say he started to kind of go downhill was Scorpion. That was 2018. Same thing with Lil Wayne. His last good Carter, if you ask me, and one of the best Carters in the series is the Carter 5, and that released in 2018. Same thing with Nicki Minaj. Her last good overall album where everything felt right was Queen. And the reason why,
and it's going to come down to this: overstaying your welcome, getting to a point to where when you no longer have this is why Andre 3000 doesn't want to release anything. This is why he's afraid to release music, because he understands where he is and he does not have that kind of drive, or he doesn't have it in him to want to sit down and produce another album, do another album. And that uncertainty will leak out into your craft. It's noticeable. When you don't put your whole heart into a project, it's noticeable, and people can see that. They can tell. And they will treat it as such. So as far as these guys, these are party people. You know what I mean? Like, how much did you expect from people within a party lifestyle? These are not thought-provoking artists. These are ride-around artists. These are artists that you'll put on the radio and you just ride around with them on in the background. These are not typically artists that you'll just sit down and want to reflect on life when you listen to them. I'm not saying they don't release any music like that, but that's not really what they're known for.
They did not get past the pandemic is because everybody grew, everybody matured. The pandemic was one of those turning points throughout history, right? If you ask me, America in general has been changing since 9/11 and then since the 2008 stock market crash. And then the pandemic was that final push to where people, even though it may have been slow, people are starting to change. People are starting to be woke. People are starting to be very cautious and very calculative of what they consume and what they do.
I'm going to be honest. No, they're not. They're really not.
And if you ask me, the culture has been holding on to this type of music, but it does not last. If you look at last year, 2024, Future had 3 number ones, but all people can talk about is a feature on one of those albums, and that is Like That.
And man, some of them songs I've heard from them, that one, I don't know if y'all seen that one video where it had that sample in it with the NBA.
This paper coming to me 24 hours. I can't go sleep. I know the power.
Like that song, for example, complete trash. Wasted that instrumental. So much potential. And I mean, he started off strong and then it just fizzled out. These people shouldn't be making music anymore, honestly.
Surviving R. Kelly register better fast. Try to feed all my niggas and spread.
See what I mean? Complete trash. What does R. Kelly have to do with your line? What does that have to do with the line at all? That beat got wasted. That Just Blaze beat was fire. And that's what you got on the beat with. Now, Rick Ross from back from the Everyday Hustling days and all of that and the Maybach music, it was a lot better. But again, these people were coming from the hunger. They had just risen from the hunger. Once you've been out of the Hunger Games, no pun intended, for 10 to 15 years, this is what you do. Like you entered the, what did that have to do with hustling? What did you need to mention R. Kelly for? What do you need to mention Tory Lanez for? For what? It didn't even have nothing to do with the line that came after it. But for some reason, these people still touch a mic. They don't even grace the mic. They embarrass the mic. And then at the end of this song, he says big time like 96 times. He doesn't even rap anymore. And to circle back my point, the issue is not what Lil Wayne's album, what Lil Wayne didn't do that, but to circle it back, the problem is these people have been there too long. They've been in luxury too long, and they've been out of the grind too long. They ain't got to work no more. So when you're listening to these people, you're trying to pull something from people who don't have a relatable life. J. Cole and Kendrick, even though their lives are not relatable, they still stay close to the streets. So they still kind of speak for the streets because they're in them. These other people don't, they're not out here like that. They in their mansions and gated communities, not around you, owning Wingstops. That's what they do. Even Shaq still dropping fire, but Shaq is in these streets too, figuratively and literally. But I'm just saying.
Kendrick swept up the Grammys and took over the entire industry, and he didn't really release an album until the end of the year with G and X. A lot of people are pointing to the fact that Kendrick has been given quality, or the quality of G and X, or the quality of this battle, but Kendrick has been doing that his whole career. People are just now catching up, but Kendrick has been doing what he's been doing now, giving you quality, giving you concepts, giving you ideas, giving you depth for years. People are just finally starting to catch up. If you think about it, when the pandemic happened, people were trying to party. So people didn't really understand the magnitude of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is what everybody needed, but it took some time.
And man, Kendrick has some bangers. Now, I don't like everything Kendrick does. I feel like he kind of overdoes it a bit. Like, I feel like he has it just right and perfect, but then he just does a little too much. But overall, the ones that where they hit at is monumental. Like, it hits hard when it does hit, but then, you know, he kind of drifts off and he's just trying to do so much at one time that it gets lost in translation. And again, you know, it's his creative freedom, and it's cool that he's able to express himself how he sees fit. So I completely, I'm all for it. But he puts a lot of work into it. Same thing with J. Cole. He was bringing in people who actually played live instruments and things like that for his album. He put a lot of love into his album. And a lot of them, they put a lot of hard work into the album. They strategically put their albums together. And this is what people got to understand with that quality. And it was well deserved. Kendrick, with that position he got, was well deserved. And Lil Wayne did feel some type of way about it. He was kind of upset because he's like, hey, this is my hometown and this and that. But Wayne, your performances are horrible. You know, brother, you don't know whether you're coming or you're going. You don't even know your words half the time. You know, and then it turns into a speech more than a performance. You know, nothing against him, but brother, you need to sit down somewhere and retire. You know, I don't think he can, but that stuff is taking a toll on him. He's not built for this no more. You got to know when it's kryptonite time. You got to know when you're 3 doors down and it's kryptonite time trying to be Superman. You ain't still the Superman, bro. You got to fall back. If you would have kept your health up, you could have been. But all that abuse to yourself, you just ain't capable no more. You just can't do it no more. But we're going to go ahead and move forward into another conversation that, man, this one's got some people really hot.
I've never covered news or current event on this channel, but I am very compelled today. So Timberland has announced that he is signing the first AI artist. Isn't that amazing? That is absolutely stupendous. We're going to go to Buddy's post right here so he can give us the update.
I've been telling people for years that the music industry is in a state of collapse, and nobody believed me until now.
Man, it ain't just the music industry, it's everything.
One of the greatest music producers of all time, Timberland, just recently and officially signed his first AI artist by the name of Tata. He signed some ones and zeros, a computer program, to his record label. This is insane, but it gets worse. As you know, many AI programs use learning algorithms in order to replicate and create different things like music, songs, and art, even graphic design. Many people believe that Timberland has been using his fans' songs in order to inform his new artists on how to make music like this.
And he has, and I'll just say allegedly, but Tim would have these lives on TikTok where you can go to his website and submit your music, and you would pay him like $10 to $20, and he'll come on live and review it. And a lot of the songs that I've seen him review, some of them were fire, but yet it was still, oh, not good enough, not that good, or you should do this different, you should do that. And you're not really beating those allegations. You're really not, because everybody who's been on there, it's just mighty funny how you got the perfect content siphon that's not using people who are already out. You're literally curating and going through and hearing these from these people, and they're sending you their best song, so you don't even have to look for it, and then they're paying you for your time to even review it, those 15 to 30 seconds. So when you think about it, that 30 seconds to 1 minute at $20, he's making about $20 a minute to 2 minutes, give or take, max 3 minutes. And if you do a breakdown and you divide 60 by 3, that's 20. You do 20 times 20, that's $400 minimum, $400 an hour. Yeah.
Now, this is not hard to believe. Massive platforms like YouTube and Spotify have already been called out for using creators to inform their AI programs on how to make music and videos and things like this.
So now they're pulling the alleged move. And if you're wondering what he's talking about, well, basically, they're making these playlists out of, basically they're using everybody, the data from everybody, and they're making these playlists, these AI playlists. And when I say AI playlists, I'm not talking about algorithm. I'm talking about AI, like the AI makes the song, makes the beat. So when you hear these lo-fi ones, the AI is making it.
But the fact that this is happening within music so fast and so aggressively just shows us how badly the music industry is in a state of collapse. Soon enough, record labels will not find a reason to hire actual human beings. Why do that when an AI program or a hologram could do a concert without getting hurt or getting tired or getting paid?
Here's going to be another thing that you left out. Also not getting on Twitter saying something crazy, spewing your politics, hurting the brand, not making a spectacle of themselves, not getting into trouble, and then basically just doing things out of pocket when you're working for these companies. There would have been we could have at least had an argument if there was not so many people doing things they ain't had no business doing. And I'm gonna tell you the cold part of the game. Everybody does it every single day. It's just people get upset when it affects them and they're the ones who are losing. But people have been doing this forever. You know, you've been replacing graphic artists, been replacing videography, been replacing photographers, been replacing this, been replacing that, been replacing people in the studio, audio engineers, producers. This has been happening. Been replacing customer service, been replacing cashiers. It's just upsetting when it happens to you, but you've condoned it when it happened to somebody else. That's just something I want to point out.
This is a slippery slope and things are about to get way worse.
I'll save my thoughts for the end or just later, but a lot of people are upset. I mean, I've seen the anger, concern, and frustration even reach people who don't make music. So with this being so widespread, what does Timberland do? He drops this video.
AI is ruining music. Whatever. Go ahead and cry me a river, since Timbo Stamp is on that too.
Now, you're making a joke about something that actually affects people's livelihoods. Now, this is one thing that I want to say, like, just remember that. It ain't nothing to get upset about, nothing to get mad about. But you remember this energy that he has. You remember that energy. Anytime people come out and they do things like that and they're all callous about it, and he doesn't have to struggle, he doesn't go through what all these people are going through. But when he came from humble beginnings, I mean, they put in work all night on these beat machines. I'm talking You had to do everything in your power just to put a beat together. It was a struggle. It was a long process. It was a grind, a hard grind, to where it brought a huge, immense amount of appreciation to a project, to where you were like, I gotta put my foot in it because I'm putting a lot on the line to make this. And then you make a joke like this. It's funny how when people get on top, they forget where they came from. I'm not saying he ain't been on top, but you get the gist.
Y'all crying about AI taking your spot, but your songs barely mix. Why would we train it on that?
Man, y'all scared of AI, but record every hook in Melodyne.
Auto-tune is AI, baby. Y'all just didn't complain till it started writing better hooks than you. Timbo ain't the villain. He just not babysitting y'all no more. You want opportunity, but ain't got output.
You worried about AI stealing your sound? Bro, you ain't got one.
That's interesting, Tim. When you're taking everybody's sound to feed it into a computer with no life, no originality, nothing, no kind of knowledge about anything. It's just basically reading a prompt. It's looking at what everybody else does and never lived it. But you're talking about what people have no sound, but yet you're feeding this computer people's sounds because they have no sound. It's extremely interesting, Timbaland. It's extremely interesting.
Who am I kidding? I ain't had no bars to begin with.
And to me, I keep it 1,000 with you because I don't give a fuck. To me, that signals what I have thought silently in the background about a lot of industry motherfuckers.
And why do you think this is? A bunch of people sounded like, you know how many clones of gangster rappers there were? You know how many clones of Bone Thugs there were? You know how many Eminem clones there were? Vanilla Ice clones? There's always been clones. But what's getting me is the fact that now, since it's the internet, y'all are acting brand new like this wasn't always the thing. Every single song from 1992, roughly, after NWA came out, every song was a gangster song. And in the late 2000s, when it was that dance era, that Soulja Boy era, every song was a dance song, whether it was Lean With It, Rock With It, Laffy Taffy, whatever it was a dance song or a club song. All of them were. In 2009 to I think it was 2010, roughly around that area, when the YouTube had video responses and all that, everybody was rapping fast like Tech 9 and them on Worldwide Choppers. Everybody was rapping fast, talking about absolutely nothing. And the reason why I'm saying this is because how quickly people forget. You speak about this new generation as if, oh, it's just this lifeless generation, yada, yada, yada. No, it's just the internet is active and now you get to see all of the copycats. Before the internet was such a big thing, you would have to be at the corner store, you would see the copycat at the gas station. Everybody wasn't plugged in like this. Now everybody's in the matrix. So that's the difference. So now all you see is this, and it's loud as hell, and it's hard to get away from it because when it's trending or it's on these review pages, that's another thing. Reaction pages. See how quickly people forget. See, the OG reaction page was something called Nate's Vlogs. He never became big, but honestly, he was one of the best to do it as early as 2009, probably a little bit sooner than that. Let me see if I can find some of his videos.
Hey Tube, this weekend I saw an obscure gym called Hammerman. Those of you who aren't familiar with Hammerman, I'm going to play the intro so you can have an idea of what I had to deal with.
Here's how it started a long time ago. Shoes from a hip-hop Motown dude.
That's right, YouTube. MC Hammer was so big at one point in time, they turned him into a cartoon superhero. Fucking stupid show. As you can probably tell by the time MC Hammer started rapping about magical shoes, this show was some bullshit. Like, I watched the very first episode, which is usually used to establish the characters. Nope, not with Hammerman. With Hammerman, they just start mentioning random characters like you're supposed to already know who the fuck they are. Like, before the cartoon even starts, it's live action MC Hammer talking to a bunch of kids about some named Winnie.
Anybody got any pets?
Now, you see what he was reviewing? Oh, sorry about that. At that time, there was a bunch of kid show clones, really corny ones, because they were just trying to capitalize off of whatever was there. You had the Captain Planets, you had the Magic School Buses and all the knockoff versions of those shows. Just look up how many shows got canceled that were copycats because, man, nowadays these people just, man, bro, stop. Just stop. And man, this vlog's content was great, man. Like, he was probably one of the best to ever do it. And unfortunately, Ray Williams Johnson wound up being the one to take the mantle, but Nate's vlogs was always the best. But Ray wound up being the biggest one, which is crazy to me. So this always happens. The talent is always there. The talent is always at the bottom. The talent never rises to the top. It's just whatever's trending. So my whole point of what I'm saying is, the stuff that you're seeing with, oh, they ain't got no skill, man, they can't rap, oh, y'all all the same. That's because that's what's trending. It's so bad that it's trending. You're seeing reaction channels. Shout out Nate's vlogs, because he's the OG of this. Yeah, he's the OG of it. I don't give a damn who you say you watched. He's the OG. I was there. I was there, and I saw it, and I watched all of his content. He went ghost for a long period of time. Like, he had a huge hiatus. I don't even think his original channel is even up anymore. Like, that was somebody else's channel it was on. But the content was great. I don't think I ever saw an episode I was disappointed. I always laughed. It was always funny. It was always dope. And the dude, it's just, AI can't do that. It can't. Hammer Time, reviewing the Hammer Time cartoon, I didn't even know this existed. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can AI do that? It could do it if it had the idea, but you ain't got the idea. All you could do is copy what already exists. But the level of creativity that this person had can't be done by AI. That's my point. So AI can do what we do when we tell it, and it knows. But see, the creativity aspect and that creation aspect, it can't do it. Without us, it's nothing. It's just a useless shell, just a program. Just a program. So with the circle my point around, Timbaland, you and whoever company you're, I'm not going to say you specifically, but whatever company you're using is taking the content from the people, and that's how it's putting it out.
When it comes to a lot of this shit. Completely out of touch. Completely unaware. So he then released this message that says, I know I'm trolling, but let's have a real conversation. I love my independent artists. This doesn't mean I'm not working with real artists anymore, and now I don't train AI off y'all music. That is a big concern that everybody has been talking about. This just means more creativity for creators.
How, Sway? If you're taking people's music and making derivatives of them, how is that helping the creator?
It's going live tomorrow. Let's talk about it. Now, this is the thing. Before I get to the next video, which this next video that we're going to listen to, that's the one that actually compelled me to load all this up and make the video, because I wasn't going to do this. I'm like, I care enough to talk to my peers about it, to people that I actually know to make music, but I wasn't about to do this video until I seen the video I'm about to react to next. But the thing that I know is that AI has to be trained by source material that is fed. So the biggest thing about this is going to be him coming up off the source and letting people know what the source is. Let me give you some insight. OpenAI, they're going through legal troubles, lawsuits, or whatever you want to call it, for using material to train its AI, which was unauthorized, and they didn't get permission from the people they took it from.
Yeah, but let you do something like that. Let you do something like that. Hell, even with the video games out here, let you take their content or their assets and make something else out of it. I was like, the only difference is plausible deniability, because, oh man, no, it's the AI, so technically it's something new created. It's the same damn thing. If a person takes your code, rearranges it to basically be something else, to where it's noticeably not yours, what's the difference? Why is it legal for AI to do it, but it's not legal for a person to do it? Nintendo.
I see New York Times is on their ass, but I thought there were more people than that. I'm not about to go and research right now. But they use articles from the New York Times to train their AI. So they're under scrutiny. I was approached by a company to use certain materials of mine to train AI because of that shit right there, the OpenAI situation. So YouTube as well, this is the sinister part. Like, those people, they were at least willing to pay. YouTube has something, if you're a creator on YouTube, to where they just ask you like, yo, bro, you want to give us your so we can train AI? They don't give you shit. They don't give you no incentive. They just ask you, yo, can we just use your to train AI? Why not?
And you know it's coming. You know it's going to be here. Cause I'm gonna fade off into obscurity like I always have. I'm gonna just disappear and vanish. I'm gonna be in the background like a phantom. These days are numbered on YouTube. I don't know how many years that's left. I don't know if it's like gonna be 3-4 years, whatever it's gonna be. But the way that it's headed, if you think for a second it ain't coming here, and then people are gonna keep, you know how many of these darn channels I see doing these stories about the rapper stories, these documentaries and all of that, these AI documentaries where you have people who actually went out to these streets and interviewed these people and put the work in, and now it's just AI. And the voices are getting a whole lot better, but you can hear where they misspeak a few things and they say a few things wrong, but generally a lot of the words are correct. If you think for a second they're not thinking of a way to do the exact same thing to where they can pay less people and keep more of that cut, you got another thing coming. Now I know you're probably thinking, man, that's far-fetched. They wouldn't do that, man. They need us. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you. It's gonna come a point in time when you ain't even gonna know who's real on the internet anymore. I mean, hell, you barely can tell if anybody's real. And now you got to the point where AI is telling jokes. It's over. At this point, we're just in overtime. Sorry to be a downer, but it's the reality.
And the thing that's going on right now, if you're not aware, we're in an AI arms race against China and stuff like that. And it's one of the things that's it's really going to have a stronghold on the economic future of whatever country gets the monopoly on it and things like that. So
for a lot of people, there's not going to be an economic future. They're going to do what they always have done. It's going to come down to a certain level of control. I don't like to use certain terms and say certain things, but we know the history. We know how the history goes. We know about the historians and what took place when a lot of people went off to fight and things like that. That's what's going to happen next. You think it's coincidental? You think it's accidental? Well, keep thinking that. But I'm just telling you where things are headed. And when there's not enough jobs and all these prices are crazy and astronomical, you know what's coming next.
that's what's going on in the bigger scheme of AI. Now, when we go over to this music, none of the fans or artists are that gullible. We know that it has to be trained somehow. And a lot of people who are artists, they are really upset because he's been doing this like showcase your music, American Idol stuff.
But now you guys got to ask yourselves this question. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when people keep adopting these AI playlists? What you gonna do when people keep on just making their own playlist? What you gonna do about that? Same thing with t-shirts. People used to not be able to make t-shirts at home. Now they can get the little Cricut, they can get the little printer and do their shirts at their house. At first, it was an extremely expensive process to do that. Now, no, not so much. You can get it for a few thousand. You think you honestly believe people don't care, and you're fighting a losing battle. And this is my message to the artists. I'm just letting you know, you're fighting a losing battle. You can't win that. I've been fighting this battle for over 20 years to the point to where I said, you know what? I don't care anymore. You know, people are gonna do what they're gonna do. You know, why would I stress myself out and walk around here huffing and puffing like, man, whoa, the game ain't fair. They do, man, look, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. The issue is, how can you force the audience? I'm not saying. Let me. When we start talking, like, I gotta be extremely concise about what I mean. How are you going to force the audience? Basically saying, how can you make them accept a person artist versus the AI when predominantly they can't tell the difference, nor do they care? Does that make sense? The consumer does not care that the product is created by AI. They just want the product, and they want it as cheap as possible and as cost effective as possible. So how can you fight that? You get what I'm saying? You're fighting a losing battle. That's my point.
With artists on TikTok. But before he was even doing that, you know, he was doing Beat Club, and he's also been doing like the lives and stuff on Twitch or whatever the platform is, and having people submit beats and all types of stuff. And you know, he's working with Suno and all of that. You've seen the ads. So him holding all these contests on TikTok and showcasing people's music and acting like he's scouting for talent or things of that nature, it makes people feel like the AI shit is a rug pull. That's what they feel like. So we're going to read just a few comments. Why have you been encouraging artists to sing you their music for the past year? Just training to make more money for less? Super disappointed in your lack of integrity. Such a strain on your legacy.
Bro, who do you think these people are? Like, integrity? I'm sorry. Industry and integrity are not synonymous. Have you not learned anything over the past few years? I mean, I've been on this, but I'm just saying, y'all are just now learning this. And everybody was partying with Diddy. And you think this fool talk about your legacy like Timbaland is somebody honorable. No, Timbaland is just a businessman in the industry, and he's gonna make money how he needs to make his money. He don't care about you. He never cared about you. At one point he cared about the craft, but that's about as far as that goes. This man don't give a damn about y'all. You think these people are your friends? You think they like you? You think they coming to your birthday party wishing you happy holidays? Oh, well, I guess they do, but usually that comes with an ad. They get paid to do that. They typically not doing that for free. Y'all gotta grow up, man. You still believe in Santa Claus too? You know what I'm saying? Come on, bro.
Staying. If you really want to know about the integrity of Timberland, go and look up what he did to CLA Wu. I'll read two more. It says, after you reviewed so many fire artists on live, this is your response. And then we have another one that says, this nigga took y'all $10, $20 every Friday and backdoored y'all. Come on, man. Come on, man. So listen, we about to watch this other video that he posted on the same post from another industry figure. I'm going to react to it and let you know my thoughts. So I'm going to pause and say certain things in between the takes.
Yo, in today's news of artists are never satisfied. Artists are never happy. This is why executives, producers, stuff of that nature don't work with artists.
Like, look at this dude. You see him? You know who he looked like? You remember how he used to have those villains on the Disney Channel? When they used to do those exaggerated characters, whenever they were evil, you just knew they were evil when you saw them, like Little Mermaid. That's what he looked like. This man looked like a nefarious villain. This man looked like the stereotype for every 1990s, 1980s cartoon villain.
First of all, the Timberland, who has super producer, who has, I've seen helping as many artists as he can, decides he's going to play in the AI world, which, why the wouldn't you? Like, let me tell you what an AI thing is. Let me tell you what an AI character is. Mickey Mouse is an AI character.
This is why everybody does not deserve a voice on the internet. Take this man's mic away. Take this man's phone away. People swear it's crazy how smart people think they are, and they're so damn dumb. Mickey Mouse was drawn by hand by artists, which is why the cartoons of the 1960s and up, whenever they started it, because it started really early, it might even been sooner, like the 30s or 40s. That's why they look the way they look, because they were drawn by hand. Mickey Mouse was not done by AI. You don't even know what the hell AI is.
Donald Duck is an AI character. Bugs Bunny is an AI character.
This right here is a bad analogy, and I'm going to break it down. When you look at a character like Bugs Bunny is animated by humans. Wow, who would have thought? Who would have thought that every time you've seen Bugs Bunny, he was drawn by a human? A human put pen to paper, ink to paper, and colored them, all that's it, and it was made by a human. So anytime you see him, he is created by not just a human, in a lot of cases, by a set of humans when you were looking at animation. Let me take it a step further. You don't just see Bugs Bunny by himself 99% of the time when you see him. And you don't just see him in just a commercial. You see him on things like Space Jam or the old Looney Tunes. Guess what? There is somebody overseeing the whole production of that.
And usually I cut in, but he in the kitchen right now. I'm going to just let him cook. I'm going to let him cook.
That gets paid to manage all the artists, just the whole production of it.
And it required a lot of people.
So that's just a whole, Bugs Bunny is a whole operation as far as a set of people within itself. But this is the thing, man. You don't just see Bugs Bunny animated. You see a voice actor playing Bugs Bunny's voice every time you see him open his mouth on a screen. That is a human. Now, what is the difference between Bugs Bunny and an AI character? Well, when you look at an AI character, there's going to be one person involved. You know who that person is? The person who puts in the prompts.
And to be clear, animation and AI are not synonymous. Now, AI can create animation, but animation itself is not AI.
They are going to put in the prompts, and AI technology is going to do the artist job. They're going to draw the new character that's not Bugs Bunny. They're going to take all these trained voices of people who probably didn't get paid and craft a new voice, craft a voice out of thin air. And it's not just one time. You could do this a million times. You could do this an unlimited amount of times. So when you look at the comparison to that, wait a minute. Nobody's getting paid as far as a human to do the voice acting. So the voice actor is out of a job. Wait a minute. It used to take a team to animate Bugs Bunny. Now you're going to have a machine do the entire animation. Wow. Now the whole animation team is gone. Even the guy who ran the production and all of that stuff as far as the animation team, and he had all this expertise, he's gone because you don't need him. All you need to do is know, you just got to know how to write some good prompts. And trust me, I could go deeper than that, but that is the fundamental difference.
And he was cooking, so I really wanted him to get his point across. Now, all of us, we're all drones, we're all derivatives of some sort, we're all copies. But what's not being understood about the difference between humans and AI, when we make derivatives or we make copies or we do the things that we do, we gotta pay in blood, sweat, and tears. We gotta pay for that in time. We have to pay for that out of our life clock. So whenever we replicate or we do these things, it wasn't free. It costed us. Remember how I had that discussion on the prior video about how time is money? Well, our time costed. When you paint a portrait of somebody, for example, let's say you paint a portrait of Marilyn Monroe. 1,000 people paint a portrait of Marilyn Monroe. But the thing is, it's the same picture, right? But you sacrificed your time. You paid in your time for that Marilyn Monroe. The machine doesn't. The machine can just copy and take whatever it is from anybody without the blood, sweat, and tears. It didn't pay for it. Now, you may have not paid a person directly to craft or hone a skill, but you paid in your time to learn it and do it. So it wasn't free. You had to sacrifice 10,000 hours for that mastery. So if you start making Timbaland beats, you weren't able to type in a prompt. You had to study Timbaland beats. You had to study Timbaland for over 500 hours plus just listening to his beats. Then you had to dedicate another 500 to 1,000 hours plus on just the functionality of the program to make the beats. Then you had to do the whole another 500 to another 1,000 hours just to get it functional, to be able to navigate it to where it doesn't take you 6 to 7 hours to do something simple. So it's a good thing for free market, but it's also extremely punishing at the same time. Because the thing is, the easier things are, the harder they become. I'm going to say this, I'm going to say it again. The easier things are, the harder things become. For example, we'll use fighters, we'll use fighting games. What happened to the legends in the fighting game industry? What happened to them? Why are there no more fighting game legends? Because the games are easier. It's not the same because it's accessible. It's not a big deal anymore for the counters. See, the counters don't have to be perfect anymore like when Daigo did them. Skill gap is no more. Everybody and anybody can do it. And me personally, I don't care, man. It's just how you got to make your money. It's how you make your money. But that's why nobody stands out. When it's something easy to do, it doesn't matter. But the generation today believes everybody deserves a trophy. Everybody deserves an award. And they don't. But if you kicked it with your boy this long, I appreciate you hanging with me. Links in the description below like always. And in the meanwhile, I'm out. Have a good one.